What's up, friends? Welcome into Rock Chalk Sports here, KansasNation.com. Thanks as well for joining us on Sports Radio 810 WHB and ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. We are previewing KU and Cincinnati, about to get underway at Allen Fieldhouse. The Hawks and the Bearcats. KU trying to win another after winning one in Stillwater Wednesday night. Elijah Schmidt runs the operations here at Kansas Nation, and I'm Sean Kellerman alongside Dan Courtwright. Thanks for tuning in. Going to talk a lot of Bearcats. Of course, we need to take care of this opponent before Houston comes to town on Monday. But Dan, first, wanted to get your thoughts on the game on Wednesday night. You weren't able to be on the show yesterday here on Rock Chalk Sports, where we have 4 to 6 coverage daily, Monday through Friday. Your thoughts on the win on Wednesday night?
Yeah, I mean, it needed to happen, right? And, that was one that you had circled on your calendar, was going to Oklahoma State. It's never going to be easy, right? And, Oklahoma State, it is kind of sad to see how far they've fallen from grace, because Gallagher, Iowa used to be one of the most ruckus arenas in the nation, I would say. And now they're completely curtaining off half of the upper.
Yeah.
It's really sad to see, and hopefully Oklahoma State gets back, because college basketball is better when Oklahoma State's good. I truly think that. And again, this goes back to something that we've talked about I'm always like weirdly kind of rooting for the OG Big 8, Big 12 teams, and Oklahoma State is definitely in that conversation. But it was one that Kansas absolutely needed to get. Obviously, in terms of, momentum moving forward, right? You have Cincinnati coming up. That's another big one for momentum. You had Oklahoma State in a relatively hostile environment, right? I think that when you look at this game, you look at what Darryn Peterson was able to do early, and we can talk a little bit more about Darryn Peterson. I'm sure you covered it yesterday, but with Darryn going out there, scoring 23 points in 18 minutes and coming back out, it's abundantly clear he's one of the best players in America. And we're not going to get into all of the injury saga or whatever, but Kansas did a really good job of maintaining that momentum throughout the game. They got off to a very hot start. Bryson Tiller had an excellent game. He went, what do you have, 10, 11, and 7, triple-double watch for Bryson Tiller. He's now on an upward tick after he kind of plateaued there for a little bit, finally seeing some balls go through the hoop. Flory, I thought, played a really good game. Trey White had a really good game as well. So just a lot of the other pieces continuing to mold together, which is a really good sight to see.
Yeah, Kansas 10-3 in Big 12 play. They only have 2 more road games, but got to focus on these 2 at home. Excited to get a chance to take on Cincinnati, a team who's won 3 in a row. It hasn't exactly been the who's who of the Big 12, and we'll get into that shortly, but still a game that Kansas needs to win. Right now, bracketology-wise, Kansas solidly on the 3 line, but needless to say, an opportunity to get up to the 2, maybe even the 1 if they're able to string together perhaps 5 straight and get at least a share of the Big 12 title. We are live at Kansas Nation, downtown Lawrence on Mass Street. Like I said, we host Rock Chalk Sports daily from 4 to 6 on KansasNation.com, also live on YouTube and Facebook. Kansas Nation Podcast Network features not only us for Rock Chalk Sports, Dan, but a lot of great options, best coverage for KU.
Yeah, check out all of our podcasts. We have the Time Out with Tyshawn Taylor podcast, hosted by Rock. Tyshawn Taylor, obviously one of the better personalities in Lawrence in Kansas basketball history. An excellent listen there. Also Between Two Fountains with Mick Schaefer and Greg Gurley, two of the best personalities in the Kansas City area. They talk a lot of KU hoops. They talk a lot of Kansas City stuff as well. Jayhawker podcast with Nate Bukaty, and then Haney and the Hawks, where he brings on Jayhawk players of the past to talk about the glory days. So check all those out on the Kansas Nation Podcast Network, on YouTube, everywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud. Also check us out on our social medias as well. Facebook, Kansas Nation, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at the Kansas Nation. Check us out everywhere. We got the best content, always trying to give you the best stuff regarding Kansas athletics.
Yeah, game day coverage, KansasNation.com, and Kansas Nation on socials, as Dan said, is the place to be. Let's get into the KU-Cincinnati game that is coming up. First, though, a quick shout-out to Miles Schneier and Crown Automotive, our first partners here at Kansas Nation. Check them out on South Iowa and Lawrence, or crownautomotive.com. If you are able to get over there and check out their great line of new and used vehicles, tell them the guys at Kansas Nation sent you. Miles Schneier, great friend, great partners of us here at Kansas Nation. Jayhawks 20-6, 10-3 in Big 12 play. Bearcats are just 14-12, 6-7 in Big 12 play, but they have won 3 straight games. Cincinnati victories recently. over UCF, K-State, and Utah. Again, not the top-tier teams in the conference, but we'll kind of go through where they're at from a schedule standpoint. Wes Miller kind of teetering in terms of job security, I would say. A lot of frustration for what generally is a very proud Cincinnati program. But to start the season, Cincy got victories over Western Carolina, Georgia State, Dayton, which was a nice win, and Mount St. Mary's. Cincy played number 6 at the time, Louisville, close, but they lost by 10. Other noteworthy matchups in the non-con, losses to Xavier, who's not very good this year, and Georgia. Georgia better than they generally are, but still another L for Cincinnati. They also lost to a good Clemson team. And their other victories in non-con, just not very impressive. A lot of mid-majors. So not a lot went well for them in the non-con. And interesting, just before the Clemson game on December 21st, Jizzle James, who has played at Cincinnati the past few years, was reinstated to the team on December 17th. James, of course, the son of Edgerrin James, a speedy guard, quick twitch guard who's been a part of the program ever since then after a kind of a strange first month and a half where he was not with the program. In Big 12 play, as I said, 7 losses for Cincinnati. They lost to West Virginia. They lost to Arizona State. And then they lost to West Virginia again. Those are their worst losses in conference play. Their best win by far is the victory that they had against Iowa State at Fifth Third Arena. Iowa State was ranked number 2 in the country. That was on the heels of when Kansas beat Iowa State. Kind of similar to Arizona losing to Texas Tech, right? KU beats these undefeated teams, and then they lose their following game as well.
Although
but a nice
Cincinnati's
win.
not on the same level as Texas Tech, I would say.
A nice win for Cincinnati over Iowa State. Then their other wins in conference play, they beat Colorado, they beat Baylor, and then again, this 3-game win streak they have recently of UCF, K-State, and Utah. They have a doable schedule the rest of the way, but a team that's not in the bubble conversation yet. If they have a good next couple games, they'll be in the bubble conversation because they have a road trip to Kansas, of course, coming up, and then they've got the road trip to West Texas to take on Texas Tech. They also have a home game against BYU. So they have some resume builder opportunities coming up. And again, trending the right direction. Dan, you're going to get into some individuals, and I'll get into team stats, but what makes this team go is their defense. They're 100 plus in offensive efficiency. I think last I saw they were 142 KenPom offensive efficiency, but they are number 10 in KenPom defensive efficiency. Tell us about some of the individuals for Cincy.
They've dropped in offensive efficiency. They're at 172 right now. Also dropped 1 spot in defensive efficiency. They're number 11 in the nation in terms of defensive efficiency. A really sound defensive team, but a really, really bad shooting team. I'll get into some specifics and some individuals here. By the way, I was talking about this with Elijah and you off air. All first team name.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Baba Miller, Jizzle James, Day Thomas, Sincere Harris. A lot of really fun names on this team, and we'll kind of break down a lot of these guys. Baba Miller, he's the guy down low, 6'11", a really solid player on the defensive end of the ball, also averaging a double-double. He averages 13.7 points per game. He's their leading scorer, and he's averaging 10.4 rebounds per game. So a guy who can really rake them in and really finish on those offensive rebounds, a guy who does most of their work down low. So again, a really good, really solid player down low, also averaging 1.5 blocks per game, which is really impressive, and 3.2 assists per game. So when he does get those post touches, he can kick it out, and those guys can hit a 3 whenever they need to, right? Again, they're not the best shooting team. We can kind of get into some of the field goal percentage and 3-point percentage and all this different kind of stuff because it is not very good. Then you look down farther, Jizzle James, he's their second leading scorer right now, 11.4 points per game. Only played 16 games because, like you said, had the weird where he was off the team, and then December 17th comes back onto the team and starts to play a little bit more. Obviously, building that chemistry back. He knows all the guys. But he's shooting 43.8% from the 3-point line. The kid is really their best 3-point shooter, and he's really their best threat out there. And on a team that doesn't shoot very well, Jizzle James shoots it really well from outside of the arc, but only averaging 11.4 points per game. Mustafa Thiam, who we saw at UCF last year, another really good center who's down low, averaging 11.2 points per game, 6.2 rebounds per game. So they have 2 really prolific guys in their front court in Baba Miller and Thiam, who are averaging over double digits in scoring. Tiam, like I said, only averaging 6.2 rebounds per game. Baba Miller really does most of the cleanup work down there. But you have the rim protection. When you have a guy who's 6'11" and a guy who's 7 foot plus in Tiam, that's going to be tough with getting those post touches. Also, they have Day Thomas, who's averaging about 40% from the three-point line. He's averaging 11.1% or 11.1 points per game. So all in all, evenly dispersed scoring, but not a lot of scoring happening. They also have Sean Abave, who's averaging 8 points per game. Jalen Celestine, who we've seen from Baylor last year.
Yeah, he had a day. Yeah, he had a day against KU and Waco.
Certainly did. So there's a lot of names that you'll recognize, and they did a really good job in the portal, I thought, right? Because they have Kirk Kriisa, who was at Kentucky last year, but he's not playing very much for Cincinnati. 5.8 points per game, averaging about 20.9 minutes per game, but not being very productive whenever he's out there. Also only played in 19 games this year. He's dealt with some injury as well. They also have Sincere Harris, who Kansas fans should be familiar with. He's averaging 6.7 points per game. But you look at some of the team statistics that they have. As a team right now, they're shooting 42.8% from the field. That's not good. Right? They're putting up a lot of shots, right? And they do have relatively high tempo, but they're not able to score a lot, right? The way that they're able to stay in these games is on the defensive end of the ball. And we've seen them lose a lot of games because of the lack of shooting ability that this team has. From the three-point line, they're shooting 32%, which again is not good at all. If you're shooting less than 33, I would even say 34% as a team, that's not very good. And yeah, you have, Baba Miller and Mustafa Tiam right there who have taken threes before. Miller averaging 14.6% from the three-point line. He doesn't shoot a lot of threes. Tiam averaging 20%, doesn't shoot a lot of threes. But the rest of the team still is not up to par with the rest of the nation, I would say, in terms of their field goal and three-point percentage.
Cincinnati and Kansas getting underway at noon. We are previewing it right now. Kansas Nation. Rock Chalk Sports, we have 4 to 6 Monday through Friday on kansasnation.com, also live on YouTube and Facebook. And check us out on our socials as well. Sean Kellerman, Dan Courtwright here, rolling you through KU versus Cincinnati preview. And then Monday will be a big show on Rock Chalk Sports as well, as we'll recap this one and then talk KU in Houston. Big Monday for the Jayhawks and the Cougars. Yeah, and you talked about Miller and Shyam. Those are two guys who are going to be forces down low. They're not very big from a girth standpoint, right? Kind of similar to Flory and Bryson, though, in that, they're going to attack the basket and they can stretch it a little bit, even though they haven't done so incredibly efficiently. But Baba Miller in particular, a guy averaging a double-double and 1.5 blocks per game. That's going to be a challenge for Kansas on both ends. Let's look at Cincinnati from a team perspective. You highlighted it a little bit, Dan, but offensively, not good. Cincinnati, they score just 68.8 points per game in conference play. Looking at conference play only. Defensively, though, they are 4th in the league, giving up just 68.5 points per game. So they're going to want to use up the shot clock, muddy this thing up, and make it a low possession game. Field goal percentage, again, 42.9%. Cincinnati, that's 15th in the conference. Opponent field goal percentage, though, they're 6th in the conference, holding teams to 43.1%. 3-point field goal percentage. Cincinnati, not great on that front either. You mentioned they've got a couple guys highlighted probably by Day Thomas, who's shooting closer to 40%, but Cincinnati as a team just 32.9%. Opponents are shooting 33.9% from three against Cincinnati. Defensively, that's good for 7th in the league. For what it's worth, Kansas, they in conference play are just 9th in opponent 3-point field goal percentage. As good as they've been throughout the season, they are finding themselves in the middle of the pack. Kansas offensively is 3rd in the conference in 3-point field goal percentage at 36.1%. Cincinnati is middle of the pack in terms of free throw percentage. And then in terms of a rebounding margin, despite having those bigs in Miller and Shyam, Cincinnati just 10th in the conference. They have those bigs, but they also have very, very small guards. Celestine plays some, and he's a bigger wing at 6'7", but James and Thomas, those aren't guys that are exactly attacking the glass. They are smaller guard-type players, so that is playing a part, I'm sure, and Cincinnati struggles rebounding the ball. And in terms of turnover margin, Cincinnati also middle of the pack, as they are dead even in turnover margin in Big 12 play. So for Kansas, I think you feel confident about your ability to match Cincinnati defensively.
Yeah.
Both these teams, as we talked about, are top 11, we'll say now, and defensive efficiency on KenPom with Cincinnati at 11 and Kansas at 9. Cincinnati way down there, as you said, in offensive efficiency. Kansas has kind of been hovering around the 40 number all season long. Of course, Darryn Peterson, your best offensive player, has been in and out of the lineup a lot, but Kansas should be able to outscore Cincinnati. And I think it's a classic situation where you want to get stops, you want to get defensive rebounds, and you want to run, because Cincinnati, again, their comfortable way of playing is half court, slow the game down, and make it tough. But they're tough defenders. It's going to be a challenge for Kansas. And with those two guys, Miller and Shyam, they're going to have some length down low.
Yeah, when you look at this game, hopefully it's won on the outside, right? And I mean, here's the thing. They're a good 3-point defense because you look at the mismatch and just in terms of size, right? They have those rim protectors, and hopefully Flory will be able to, make some moves. Hopefully Bryson continues on his uptick. He had an amazing game against Oklahoma State on Wednesday. So when you look at that alone, you go, okay, well, the front court, that could be tough. And then you look at the 3-point defense that they have, that could also be tough. But when you have Darryn Peterson out there, that's the kind of guy that makes shots where you go, oh my gosh, like you had to stop everything, stop tweeting, stop looking at your phone and just go, that's incredible. Because there essentially are no shots where he always has a hand in his face, always has something, and he's able to sink him. So if Darryn is able to play in this game and play for an extended period of time, you feel really comfortable. Shocker, right? The projected number 1 pick in the NBA draft, if he's out there, you're going to be really good, right? But that's going to be one of the keys to the game, is just keep him healthy, because Kansas is needed to be able to go on runs. Cincinnati, a really good defensive team. They like to stop those runs. They can't score worth a damn, right? And you kind of look at this and you go, okay, well, this game has like 65 to 60 written all over it. But if Kansas is able to go on some runs, if Flory Bidunga and Bryson Tiller down low are able to get some leverage on some of these bigger guys like Shyam as well as Baba Miller, then you should be comfortable with this. Also, it's in Allen Fieldhouse. So, again, you do feel really good about them coming into your house and having them have a poor shooting night when they already are a poor shooting team. The crowd's going to be into it, right? So, obviously, that's going to give Kansas a little bit of an edge.
What does Kansas have to do to ensure that this isn't a look-ahead game? Because the last time Kansas had this Saturday-Monday situation where you had a monster coming in on Monday. Last time, of course, it was against Arizona. The Saturday game was just a dud. Yeah. KU against Utah, they won 71-59, did the Jayhawks, but you could tell there was a little bit of a look ahead. Cincinnati is better than Utah, and they do something really, really well, which is defend. I don't know that Utah had anything that they did really, really well. So Kansas, you like where you're at from a personnel standpoint. You've got Allen Fieldhouse, all that sort of thing. But again, you hate to wish the games away because every KU game is so special, but it feels like a get-through game. But Kansas is going to have to be better against Cincinnati than they were that last scenario against Utah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. And the comparison is really good, right? You have a team that's not very good coming in, and all of a sudden you're looking at it, you go, man, Utah's in town. Coming up in 2 days, right? So Houston, sorry, not Utah. You said Utah earlier. Houston's coming into town, which is a really good basketball program 2 days after you're playing against Cincinnati. What they need to do, and this is something that they did against Utah, is that I think a lot of those guys were kind of looking forward, right? And this is going to be the lamest thing to say, but they truly have to view this as one game at a time. It's going to be hard whenever Houston's coming into town 2 days later. They understand that. They understand that pressure. They understand that, hey, maybe I want to reserve some of this energy, especially when you have Darryn Peterson like cramping up. You that's always going to be sitting in the back of your mind. So I think this is when the coach speak really comes into play of, hey, focus on the team that's in front of you, which is Cincinnati. Kansas has got to be able to find some scoring early. I think Kansas has done a really good job. Whenever Kansas goes on those runs early, and Bill Self always does a great job of having these, kind of set plays to set up Bryson to go on, get the first 4 or 6 buckets or points of the game, right? We've seen that a number of different times, but we've also seen Kansas kind of become stagnant in middle of games whenever something like this is happening, right? Especially when you're going up against a really good defense. So if Kansas can get off to an early start, I think that's going to be the biggest point of emphasis in this game is, hey, you got to start off this game, make Wes Miller call a timeout when you're up 12-4 or whatever it may be.
Yeah, Kansas and Houston is Monday night at 8 o'clock. Houston, they don't have Utah or somebody similar coming to town Saturday. They have Arizona, and then they've got to travel to Lawrence. So, we would be pointing that out if it was us that had to do that. It's
Absolutely.
Houston who gets a top 5 team, and then they have to travel on, I assume, Sunday, and then, of course, Monday night at Allen Fieldhouse. And we're going to talk Big 12 outlook here in a little bit if you're watching on kansasnation.com. Dan, you talked about a hot start. Any other keys to the game for KU to knock off Cincinnati?
Yeah, key to the game. I mean, number one, get offensive rebounds. I think you got to be able to win the battle in the front court with Flory and Bryson. I think that is maybe the biggest mismatch of this game just in terms of size. Sham can block shots. We've seen him be able to do that. Baba Miller is their leading scorer and leading rebounder. He's averaging over a double-double. So you need to be able to limit those guys, right? And I think Bryson needs to continue to get better. Kansas needs to not allow offensive rebounds for Cincinnati, and they need to get their own offensive rebounds and try to get those second chance buckets because of the fact that Cincinnati has such a good defense. Kansas is probably going to be missing some shots. So if Kansas can get those offensive rebounds, get the second chances, get Cincinnati on their heels, that's going to be a big point of emphasis for this game. And you just got to see the ball through the hoop, right? And we saw a lot of different guys, and I think this is a really good thing. You saw Cole Rosario hit a 3. You saw Trey White get back into a little bit of his rhythm, right? You're still seeing Bryson continue to put up 3s, and I think when you look at this, Darryn as well. Darryn is probably the best three-point shooter on the team right now. So see the ball through the hoop. Now, that's a relatively cheap way to get out of it is what's the key to the game? Make your shots. But in reality, that's the way to do it because they have a really good defense. So we've seen it time and time again where there's a snowball effect where once some guys start hitting 3s, then everybody starts hitting 3s. You got to feel the flow kind of coming through you in the game and got to be able to go on those runs.
I think everybody was happy seeing Cole Rosario hit that baseline 3 on Wednesday because he had not hit a field goal yet in 2026. Had no field goals, Big 12 play, hit a couple free throws against Iowa State. But he's the type of guy that could do some damage for Kansas when they need him, perhaps foul trouble or some other situation that would require more PT from Cole in March, and need to see him get that confidence. Also, Trey White, if you've been watching closely and it hasn't been that big of a deal for the most part because Kansas has been winning, he struggled. A couple turnovers at the end of the Texas Tech game that Kansas was able to thankfully hold on to, and then he only had a couple points against Arizona. He only had a couple points against Iowa State. Comes back with 16. He hits a couple 3s against Oklahoma State. That was big because this is a guy averaging nearly 15 points a game. And the fact that you don't know on any given day how many minutes you're going to get out of Darryn Peterson, well, your top scorers pretty much need to be Trey White and Flory Bidunga. Flory continues on this ascent. It's been great to see. He didn't score as much against Oklahoma State, but still had 11 boards and 4 blocks. Big 12 outlook. Arizona and Houston lead the way 11-2. Of course, that game, 2 o'clock. Top 5 matchup, a couple schools of thought that if you're watching on kansasnation.com, we'll get into a little bit later. Iowa State and Kansas tied for 3rd at 10-3. Texas Tech is 9-4. And then after that, everybody has at least 6 losses. So again, there's a little bit of separation between the top 5 teams in the conference and teams 6 through 16. You want to be a top 4 team in conference play because you want the double bye. In the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship that starts in a few weeks, seeds 9 through 16 have to start play on Tuesday, and then seeds 5 through 8 don't have to start until Wednesday. Obviously, seeds 1 through 4 don't start until Thursday, rather. And Kansas is so used to getting that 1 seed and not having to play. And then the last couple seasons, KU was a 6 seed in the Big 12 tournament and had to play on Wednesday, and obviously only played a couple games in both of those tournaments. So you want the double bye, particularly because you want guys to be as healthy as possible for postseason play. Kansas is in a really good spot to do that with 3 of their final 5 games at home. And most importantly, if you win this game, you still control your own destiny. Yes, that's going to require victories against Arizona and Houston, but that's better than needing help. Kansas does not need help since they already got it a little bit after losing to Iowa State with both both Zona and Houston going down in the days following that. So Jayhawks can still control their own destiny if they're able to knock off Cincinnati. Coverage is going to start soon with the Crimson and Blue Show on the Jayhawk Radio Network, and then tip-off will be at high noon at Allen Fieldhouse. Hey, for everybody who's listening on Sports Radio 810 WHB and ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM, we want to say thank you and check us out. Sean Kellerman and Dan Courtwright. We host Rock Chalk Sports 4 to 6 Monday through Friday, KansasNation.com. Check out Kansas Nation for the best coverage of all things KU. And if you're watching on KansasNation.com, stick around. We'll be right back.
Miles Schneer's Crown Automotive, founding partner of Kansas Nation. Visit them at crownautomotive.com. Experience the Crown difference. Carfax top-rated dealer, Crown Automotive.
Listen up, guys. Summer is coming, and there's no better time than right now to ignite your health and feel your best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, ED, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2026 with Game Day.
Go all electric in a 2026 BZ for 0% APR. Built to move you, designed to electrify. Low APRs for 2026 Camry and Tundra models.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn, you want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
Hi there, Gary Joslin with Joslin's Jewelry. I'm not the class ring company. I'm a mom and pop jewelry store for 42 years. We were recently voted the gold medal #1 jewelry store in the greater Kansas City area by Ingram's Magazine. Come see us at Joslin's Jewelry, 9529 Antioch. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry, for the best that's yet to come.
Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com. Also, ESPN, Kansas City. Central Bank is a proud partner of Kansas Nation, and we are so grateful for their partnership. There's a certain energy that comes with Jayhawk basketball. The crowd rising together, the band playing, and that unmistakable moment when fans lift their arms and wave the wheat. It's a tradition that represents pride, unity, and Jayhawk spirit. With Jayhawk checking from Central Bank, that tradition doesn't stop when the game ends. Jayhawk fans can carry their pride wherever they go with the official Jayhawk debit card, a good-looking card, by the way, a simple way to show school spirit every day. Central Bank is proud to support the traditions and communities that bring people together. As the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, Central Bank is committed to serving Jayhawk fans with banking options designed for real life, on campus, at work, and everywhere in between. If you're ready to wave the wheat beyond the stands, learn more about Jayhawk Checking and the exclusive debit card at jayhawkchecking.com. That's jayhawkchecking.com. Central Bank, the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, member FDIC. Been a weird week for Kansas women's basketball coverage as they didn't have a midweek game, 18-game slate. So there's 1 week, and Kansas just happened to have a week later in the season. Yeah. They've got 3 games left. And last time out was Saturday against Houston. KU won 85-68. And now it's round 2 of the Dillon Sunflower Showdown tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Dan, Kansas 16-11, 6-9 in Big 12 play. I've talked about this throughout this week, but they are on Charlie Cream's next 4 out bracketology. So despite not a very sparkly record at 6-9, they have a chance, and they got to beat 3 teams that are ahead of them in the Big 12 standings, with the Cats at 8-7 being the next foe. But it's still possible. We know this team has talent. We know they've had close calls on the road. TCU, Texas Tech, Iowa State. We're cheering for them to get a ticket to the big dance, because that'd be so fun, and they definitely have the talent to make some noise there. But it starts tomorrow before Senior Day next week against Texas Tech, and then at Oklahoma State to close it out.
Yeah, and you look at these last 3 games. I mean, talk about resume builders, right? And K-State's down this year. We understand that, but you go out to Bramlage and you win that game, that's really going to be an impressive win, because of the fact that K-State has beaten some really good teams this year. And KU, they beat the brakes off of K-State last time. They beat it by 22 points at Allen Fieldhouse. So if Kansas is able to go out to Bramlage when you know K-State's going to be upset, and they've had this one marked on their calendar for a while, and then all of a sudden you got Texas Tech, who's nationally ranked, a really good program. If you can beat them in Allen Fieldhouse, which, again, I think the turnout should be really good for that, then you got to go to Oklahoma State, beat a J.C. Kramer team. Those are always going to be really tough games. If you win your next 3, I think there's no way that you can leave Kansas out, just because of the fact that those are 3 marquee wins. Those are 3 wins, I would assume, in quad 1, maybe quad 2, but quad 1 wins. So Kansas would definitely be in the conversation to be an at-large. I still think they probably need to make a little bit of a run in the Big 12 tournament, right? They need to at least win 2 games in the Big 12 tournament in order to maintain in the conversation of being kind of in that at-large. But we know Kansas has the talent to be able to do that. And coming off of a long week, right, a lot of prep time, and you got to imagine that, yes, they were probably practicing for K-State, but I'm willing to bet they probably had a Texas Tech day in there, right, where you're like, hey, we got to see how this matchup goes, because they have some nice shooters and they have some a really nice front court as well. Lily Meister and Jalea down low are obviously going to be big time in these games. But when you look at these next 3, again, these are opportunities for marquee victories for KU women's basketball to try to make the NCAA tournament.
Well, I know outside of Brandon Schneider, J.C. Hoyt and Molly Miller are your 2 favorite coaches in women's basketball. So I know you're cheering for the Pokes.
Molly Miller,
Arizona
shout
State.
out, man.
Yeah.
Grand Canyon.
Those are your,
and,
she's at Arizona State.
I know she is, yeah.
But yeah. I know that those.
Or who did I say?
Those
J.C. Hoyt. J.C. Kramer is. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't know who J.C. Kramer is. J.C. Hoyt and Molly
weird.
Miller are your
J.C.
guys.
Kramer was the Santa Fe Trail High School basketball coach from a couple years ago.
Stingers up.
She played at Emporia State.
Wow.
That's why I got that. J.C. Hoyt is who I meant.
Yes. J.C. Hoyt, Molly Miller, your favorites.
Yes.
Kansas baseball, they're returning to the field for a 3-game series against McNeese State this weekend. Starts tonight at 6 o'clock. Of course, KU lost to Lamar at Lamar and Beaumont on Wednesday night. So just 2-2. Remember, they had that long undefeated stretch to start the non-con last year. Not the case this year. That doesn't mean that the season will be less successful by any stretch. Have seen some good things. Matisse Nayrall has been great. Mason Cook threw 5 shutout innings against Lamar on Wednesday, so that was great to see as well. And Jordan Bach, he started the season with a bang. He came over from SIU Carbondale, and he took the second pitch of the season, as we talked about, to left field for a leadoff solo homer. He's got 7 hits, including a 4-hit performance in a 3-hit game. 583 batting average. That'll play a double, a homer, 3 RBIs, 5 runs scored, and 2 walks for Jordan Bach. After this, we head up to US Bank Stadium, the home of the Vikings and the scene of the crime if you're a Minnesota Golden Gopher fan. But one guy we haven't heard a lot from yet so far is Brady Ballinger. So just 4 games in, an opportunity this weekend for Brady Balls and company to get going against McNeese in 3-game set.
Yeah, McNeese right now, they are 2-2. They won their first game against Sam Houston State in extra innings 9-8. Then they wound up losing to Sam Houston State the next day 11-2. Then they lost 5-8. They did beat Louisiana Tech 8-3 over this past Wednesday. So, McNeese has a relatively okay history in terms of baseball, but right now they're 2-2, same as Kansas right now. And Kansas coming off of that loss against Lamar, not great. You don't ever want to be coming off a loss, especially against a Lamar team who we didn't expect a whole lot out of. But this is an opportunity for Kansas to rack up some wins before going and playing a Power 4 team like Minnesota. And we remember what happened last time in Minnesota. Kansas hit 5 back-to-back home runs, right? I'm not saying that's going to happen again. I don't know if that'll ever happen again in the history of baseball.
Right.
Maybe like, Ken Berry baseball out in Topeka or whatever. But that was an incredible performance. And you got to think maybe Dan Fitzgerald is mentioning that to these guys, but you got to rack up 3 wins here. You know what I mean? McNeese, again, similar skill level, but I think that in terms of the talent that Kansas has, and like you said, we haven't seen a lot from Brady Ballinger. I'm expecting him to really be able to pick it up and kind of go on a little bit of a run here, try to get some hits, get on base, do a good job in the outfield. You look at the core group of guys that Kansas has with Darryn Osorio, Brady Ballinger, and Dom Vagley, haven't gotten off to a great start this year, but we're seeing other guys be able to step up, which I think is a really good thing, right? You're seeing Jordan Bach be able to step up. You're seeing some of the other guys on the pitching staff be able to step up and throw some shutouts and have really solid outings. So again, I think the chemistry just needs to be able to build a little bit more, and that's exactly what this early part of the season is for.
That shows how high of expectations we have for Ballinger, as he's hitting .313, technically 5 of 16.
Yeah.
Run production hasn't quite been there for Kansas. Got to get the offense going. 4 home runs in 4 games for KU, 1 each from Bach, Cade Baldridge, Augusto Mungarieta, who I think is going to be a big-time performer for this team, and Josh Dykoff. But to your point, Osorio is just 2 of 18. Kansas needs him to be really good on both sides. Dykoff hitting just 118. Tyson LeBlanc, another guy who's got big expectations, 214. Again, only 4 games in. Baseball is one of those sports that you can't read into stats when you're 4 games in, and Kansas hopefully has a really productive weekend against McNeese, and hopefully some questions are answered on the pitching side of things. But the most important thing, Dan, tonight is Dom Vagley. You got to get Dom back to being who he could be. We saw situations last year where he would be really good and then he would be really hittable.
Yes.
And guys would square him up. So he's kind of dealt, at least he dealt last season, and then he gave up, what did he give up? 5 runs in 3 innings, and he had a bunch of strikeouts in his first outing this season.
Yeah, he struck out 8, but he also gave up 5.
He's either missing bats or guys are squaring him up. So, important game tonight against McNeese for Dom.
Yeah, and, we saw this last year with Dom. Dom came in, preseason All-American, one of the best sophomores of last year coming into the season. And like you said, there was really no gray area. Either he was dominant Vaguely or, like you said, hittable Vaguely. And you need him to either smush that down or completely get rid of the hittable, and maybe that's pitch selection, right? Maybe that's something different, in terms of the pitches that he throws or mechanics or whatever it may be. But, Dom has given up quite a few hits over this last year, and including this year as well. He got pulled after 3 innings, and Kansas was able to, pull that one out. And it's not, obviously not a great way to start the season if you're Dom Vagley. But again, we've been around this guy, and he does seem to have a good mentality about it, right? He never really lets it rattle him, where you'll see him give up 5 runs, and then the next game he'll come out and then throw like 5 shutout innings, right? So you never really see it affect him where he'll go on these long slumps. So hopefully that's the case, and hopefully he gets back to form.
Yeah, hope so. Dom Vagley, easy to cheer for, as is Kansas baseball in general under head coach Dan Fitzgerald. Hopefully, like I said, a great weekend in Louisiana. And then they got the trip to Minnesota before they host St. Thomas for 4 beginning on Wednesday, March 5th. Get out to Hoagland Ballpark. The student section was such a scene last year, and a lot of fun. Kansas baseball was back, and now NCAA tournament after a Big 12 championship. A lot of fun. Coach Fitz doing great things for KU baseball. Hey, after this, we're going to be joined by Shreyas Laddha on Zoom. He comes to us from the Kansas City Star to talk all things KU hoops. That's next. Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, and KansasNation.com.
What's up, everybody? Dan Peterson. Everybody go check out KansasNation.com.
Hi there, Gary Joslin with Joslin's Jewelry. I'm not the class ring company. I'm a mom and pop jewelry store for 42 years. We were recently voted the gold medal #1 jewelry store in the greater Kansas City area by Ingram's Magazine. Come see us at Joslin's Jewelry, 9529 Antioch. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
Performance, style, and technology. Check all your boxes in a 2026 Atlas, now 3.9% APR, or get 3.9% APR on a 2026 Jetta, the compact sedan that redefines the standard.
Hello, it's Mark Whitlow from Office Products Alliance. OPA is not just your local office products connection. We have expanded our offerings to network cabling installation, security cameras, door access, and IT services. We all need to keep pace with new technologies. You can trust a Kansas City company that has been your partner for 32 years. Check us out at opakc.com. Supporting local businesses and our community is more important than ever.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com. ESPN Kansas City. Sean Kellerman, Dan Courtwright. We're on Zoom now. We are being joined by Shreyas Laddha from the Kansas City Star. And Lord knows everybody loves hearing from the Kansas City Star. This segment is brought to you by Custom Lawn and Landscape. Dan, tell us about Custom Lawn and how great lawns are not built in the spring.
You know, that's a great point, Sean. And a lot of people think that winter is the downtime. They can take it easy for their lawn. That's not the case, because winter's prep time for your lawn. These winter spots are filling up, so be sure to get to Custom Lawn and Landscape to get your spot, to make sure that your yard looks prime time for the spring and summer. CustomLawn.com.
All right, let's bring on Shreyas. Shreyas, thanks for coming on, man. Busy time right now as we prepare for March Madness. Stillwater, it was a game that occurred. Kansas punched Oklahoma State in the mouth early, ends up with an 81-69 win. A lot to get into from an individual standpoint, but what did you like? And I mean, Kansas won, so they're 10-3, and now KU focuses on a couple of home games.
Yeah, I like the fact that they started off strong in a place that sometimes they've struggled in. I know they've won the last 8 in a row, I think, coming into that game, but you know, there was a lot more closer games in Stillwater typically, but it felt like from the get-go, they were in complete control of the game. Liked how Marco Jackson played. Loved the start from Darryn Peterson. Loved Bryson Tiller's near triple-double that he put up. It didn't even seem like he had a crazy game. And then he looked, oh, God, he stuffed the stat sheet. And, you know, I was pretty impressed overall. I felt like they really never got out of, like, first gear, you know, against this Cowboys team.
Shreyas, Oklahoma State, a lot of storylines coming out of this game, right? But, and I think you might know where I'm going with this, there's one big story that everyone is kind of looking at, and that's Darryn Peterson only playing 18 minutes. He did have 23 points, an impressive outing, but sinks a three. All of a sudden, he taps Bill and says, take me out. They did have the bike over there, so at least he was kind of working on it a little bit. I'm at the point right now, maybe I'm a little late to the party. I'm at the point where I almost can't defend this anymore, right? I've defended the flu-like symptoms because I've had flu-like symptoms. They're not fun. I've defended the cramps because I've had cramps. They're not fun. But at this point, it feels like something different. Just your overall take, because we kind of thought, and Bill even talked about this in the post-game press conference, he thought this was over, and now it's continuing to happen. And it was abundantly clear that he was like, hey, man, take me out right now. Just your thoughts on the whole Darryn Peterson thing. And do you think, is this going to be a problem down the line? Do you think this is going to bleed into March Madness? I guess, just what's your overall take on this?
Well, I mean, a couple of things. First, Bill thinking it's over with, I understand, because before the flu-like symptoms, he had 2 games where he didn't have cramps. So you're thinking, okay, he's finally played more than 33 minutes in 2 games. Maybe he will come out there and not cramp again. I don't know what happened. Maybe the lack of continuity, maybe the sickness or whatever, because he wasn't playing basketball continuously. Maybe that's why he's cramping. Guys, I know people don't want to hear this, and people are going to yell at me about this, but he's cramping. Like, I hear this continuously from both sides, from his camp to KU's camp. Everyone tells me that he's dealing with some sort of thing. And I think the frustration is because Bill thinks they would have solved it by now. I mean, like, we're 5 games away from postseason play, and we're still talking about the Darryn Peterson cramping situation. Like, to me, like, there's no logical reason, to come out of games. Like, I guess they were up and he probably wasn't feeling great. But if you watch him play, go back and watch his high school tape and watch him play. We can talk about the skill gap college competition wise, but he just looks like a completely different player. Like, he drives the basket a lot more. He's doing a lot of crazy things. And a lot of that is, obviously he's playing high school comp and they were great teams or he's playing great players, but he just doesn't look like he has the same bounce or separation ability or agility that he has had in high school. I know people are frustrated, and that's because of the lack of transparency from Peterson in his camp. And I think that's completely fair. But I think there's some level of nuance. I texted Travis Goff yesterday about the situation and asked him, like, what do you make of everything? And he was like, look, this is something that we're dealing with in real time. But I will say, Coach Self, and everyone in the program are behind him in every way, shape, or form, which I thought was interesting. I think we look at this situation and there's some level of frustration from everybody, whether it's us covering it because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, to fans because they're not hearing from Darryn Peterson. We're just getting the intermediary of Bill Self, to Bill Self having to manage a guy who just hasn't been healthy all year, but we know is immensely talented and has to be out there if they want to make a deep run. So there's a lot of little compounding factors. And then you have his camp coming in with it because they don't want to talk to anybody. I've had trouble getting him on the phone. I've talked to you guys about this. Like, I've never had a harder time getting anybody on the phone outside of his high school coach than Darryn Peterson and his entire camp. That means his agent, his dad, his manager, all of these people. They've been very mum on this, and they haven't talked to anybody locally or nationally outside of his high school coach talking to me. I haven't seen anybody get some reporting from that side of things. And maybe it would have helped for somebody to get something from that side so we can find out what's going on behind the scenes. So if Darryn Peterson's campus is listening to this, I'm willing to listen and open ears and tell their side of the story, as I've told them before. But it's a frustrating situation. I absolutely think this is going to be an issue come March. Why wouldn't it be? We haven't seen him play 3 games where he doesn't have some sort of health issue pop up. You really think he's going to go through 5, 6 potential games in a deep March run without some health issue, and some of these games being within 48 hours of each other? In, maybe they'll be in different altitude. What if they end up in like Utah or something? I don't know if Utah is a site this year, or somewhere with high altitude. Like, does that affect his cramps? Like, there's a lot of variables, and I think KU fans have just got to take it like it is. Like, it sucks, but this team is really good. You hope Peterson figures it out. He probably won't because he hasn't shown it all year. And, I can't wait to see social media if he has to come out of a Sweet 16 game, because yesterday's social media, every national blowhard was having an opinion. And I bet you Dan Le Batard and Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins has not watched a single Kansas basketball game this year.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's a good point. And going back to what you said about Peterson's game being a little bit different, it's interesting, right? Because he's been such a good 3-point shooter for Kansas, but what he was brought on to KU, that wasn't the thing people talked about with DP. It was his bounce, his ability to get to the bucket, and obviously all the other things that he brings, and also the ability to shoot. But, we've seen him be more of a shooter, and I think that's a good point on your front, and that he hasn't been completely healthy. I wonder how frustrating it is, or I guess I don't know the word, but let's just call it like it is. Darius Acuff plays 50 minutes and scores 49 points a couple of days ago, and we know that he was in a boot a few days before that. AJ DeBonta has been playing a ton of minutes. Caleb Wilson, he has an injury now, but he pretty much has been playing all year. Kingston Flemings has been playing all year. You know that NBA executives are seeing this. It's got to be frustrating for Peterson and his camp. And you have to think that people are all on the same wavelength in terms of he's got to be out there and prove it, because all these other dudes are real guys too, and they're proving it. So the whole situation's got to be frustrating.
Well, I do think there's some level of frustration, but every draft guy I talk to hasn't moved Darryn Peterson out of number one. Like, there are teams that still don't care about this. Like, I said this before to you guys, and I'm a big NBA guy. The NBA doesn't care because they do this all the time. This isn't load management, but if it comes down to it, they will load manage a really good player. They've done it with Kawhi for years. Like, I think the frustrating thing is, because as Kansas fans, you guys want to watch him play. And as a guy who loves basketball, I want to watch him play. And if you like college basketball, you want to watch a generational talent play. But there is no benefit for him to push himself out there and potentially get hurt, because he's still number one. And then he has to deal with, oh, do I actually have to say this is a bigger deal than it is? Because when the top 3 lottery teams ask for his medicals, he can pick and choose who gets his medicals, right? The rest will be in the dark about it. And I think the biggest thing is, like, the gap might be, lessening, but I still haven't seen anywhere any legitimate site take him off number one off their board. I talked to Jeremy Wu from ESPN a lot. He still has a number one. I asked him about it, and he was like, I'm not judging the circus. The circus to me does not matter. I'm judging the talent. And I've been watching him play since high school. I know what he can do and what he can't do. Maybe the gap is lessening than what it once was, but, everyone's seen what the potential of him can be. And the NBA is an investment. Theoretically, this guy should be playing 10 years at least with one team. So they are going to be willing to take a chance on this, even if this is a headache for Bill Self in Kansas. NBA teams can deal with the headache because it's a long-term investment. Kansas can't.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point. You only get him for a year. And I've been saying that, like, hey, if Darryn Peterson plays the second year at Kansas, something terrible has gone wrong, right? And, it's a really good point where he doesn't really have that vested interest of needing to be able to do that. But at the same time, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and you kind of have to deal with it. And you just got to hope that the cramping issues resolve themselves, whenever, well, hopefully before March Madness. And I kind of wanted to talk to you about that. From a Kansas fan's perspective, I understand you're an unbiased media member, but when you look back at Darryn Peterson, say 10 years from now, what needs to happen in order for there to be essentially an all is forgiven type moment, right? Is it a Final Four? Is it a Big 12 championship and an Elite Eight? Is it no minutes restrictions in March and they have an Elite Eight exit? I guess, like, where is the line of, because you weren't here for Remy Martin, but Remy Martin was very similar in the aspect of this is what happened to him all year long. And then all of a sudden he had an incredible March. Everyone loves Remy Martin now. Nobody remembers how much they hated Remy Martin in the regular season. So what needs to happen in order for this to kind of flip the switch on Darryn Peterson, where people can look back on him in kind of a good light?
It's funny you bring up Remy Martin. I was texting a Kansas super fan that is pretty donor yesterday about it, and she was like, I hope it's not them just protecting him in March, but, I'm not saying he's Remy Martin, but I remember at Remy Martin, he could be that. And I think about it, I think an Elite Eight is a good baseline of nobody's going to care about the cramping stuff if they get to an Elite Eight. Like, obviously, depending on what happens when they get to, like, say you get to Elite Eight and then, God forbid, Peterson cramps in the middle of the game or something, then I think people remember it a little more. But I think Elite Eight would probably be where I'm at, where I don't think people care 10 years from now. They would probably be like, it was a difficult year. He was clearly never healthy. I mean, guys, has he played 3 games this year without dealing with some sort of health issue? I don't remember it. I was going through it yesterday for a TikTok. Like, I did a whole TikTok on this entire Darryn Peterson saga for work, and I'm excited for that to come out. But I had like a whole script, and it was like a 6-minute script initially. And I was like, okay, I got to say this faster because they were telling me to say it super slow, and it was the slowest I've ever talked. And you guys know I talk fast, and I had to redo it 3 times, and I went from 50 words a minute to 180 to talk about everything that Darryn Peterson has gone through and the entire saga in a concise way in 3 minutes. But I think Elite Eight is a good level of like, okay, you're forgiven. And I think the big thing is he's got to be, even if he's not healthy, he's got to push through whatever he's dealing with. I think people will be able to be like, yeah, he was gutsy. And yeah, he didn't really play in a lot of games in the regular season, but he pushed through something that he clearly never solved in his 1 year at Kansas.
Well, let's talk about some of the other guys. As Shreyas Laddha joins us from the Kansas City Star. Other individuals, Oklahoma State, you saw Cole Rosario hit a three. Trey White hit a couple threes, which was good to see because he's been struggling for 2 or 3 weeks now, honestly. And then Bryson Tiller. I mean, Bidunga continues to be great, but BT with 10, 11, and 7, like you said, that was kind of a, whoa, he put up some numbers today type deal. Love the 2-man game with BT and Flory, and it's something that not a lot of teams right now are able to do with 2 natural bigs, and Tiller kind of is playing that 4-3 that he identified himself as, and that's been a big help for KU.
Yeah, he's been tremendous. It seems like he's getting more and more confidence in each game. You can see him with him out there. I think he's become more comfortable alongside Flory. I think a lot of this year was trying to figure out his role, right? Because I think Tiller is more of a back to the basket kind of in that mid-range area, but he can't be that with Flory on the floor because the paint gets congested. So he's got to change up his game a little bit, right? Like he can shoot open 3-pointers. He makes those. And he feels like he's doing better in space right now with the ball and being at the right spots. I've been pretty impressed with him. And he's a guy that I'm like, if he goes on like to have a really nice March and like a good tournament run, like maybe that puts him on some draft boards that he might not have been on necessarily at the moment. I mean, I talked to you guys about this, but I asked midseason to somebody about like what they think of Tiller. And they were like, well, he has the finesse. He has the skill set, but he always plays a little soft and not true to his size. And I thought that was interesting because I feel like he's playing more true to his size as of late, whether it's with rebounds or getting out and, getting tough possessions, finish with shots at the rim, etc. Him playing well is great. Trey White playing well. I mean, like he started off really slow. I think he was like 2 of 7, but he finished 6 of 13 or something for the night. That's a big one because he's been slumping as of late. Like you really want him to see they can build off of that. I think Flory had a relatively quiet game, but he was out there doing Flory things. I think he still finished with like 11 rebounds or something. I think the most impressive part was we finally saw Cole Rosario hit a 3. It feels like it's been ages since he's hit a 3-pointer. I'd like to see if they can get that more out of him because I feel like there's gonna be a random Big 12 tournament game or a random March Madness game where Cole Rosario comes out of nowhere, hits 2 3-pointers, and that saves the game. Like I just feel like it's gonna happen. It always happens with these guys who just haven't really figured out where. I mean, Nick Timberlake had a game like that.
Yeah,
like,
man, he had like 4 threes against.
Yeah, and like I'm not saying he's gonna have 4 threes in a game, but like 1 or 2 pivotal 3-pointers that change the momentum could go such a long way for this Kansas team. So a lot of positives from that Oklahoma State game. But the biggest thing I came out with was they did what they needed to do against a team that was reeling and desperately needed a win. And they did it without really having to put a ton of effort, I felt like, to win handily.
Yeah, obviously a big time win in Kansas absolutely needed it, right? And, going down to Stillwater is never fun, but Kansas got the job done. Shreyas, I want to talk to you a little bit about kind of the path forward. Obviously, you got Cincinnati coming up, but then you look after that, like, oh my gosh, there's Houston right there. Oh, you got to go to Arizona. And Kansas still very much in the Big 12 championship race, right? And if, some of those other teams drop a couple of more, and we know that they're not impervious to dropping some. We saw Tech lose to Arizona State. But the Cincinnati game in particular, this is a good opportunity for Kansas to get another one of those wins and kind of gain some momentum before a really, really tough stretch. And Cincinnati, by the way, Sean mentioned this, they're a top 10 defensive team in KenPom.
It's crazy.
News to me, like that, they're not a good team in terms of the offense side, but defensively, they're really good.
Yeah, I think a big thing is they come out there, they win on Saturday, get some momentum, like you said, go into the big Monday night game against Houston. And then I think they play Arizona, or was it Arizona State next Saturday? I can't remember which one it is.
Who is this?
KU.
Kansas.
Yeah.
Kansas gets Arizona Saturday and then Arizona State. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because they play 2 top 5 opponents next week, which would be crazy. Obviously, a big gap between both games, but I think the big thing is they win against Cincinnati without really maybe they don't have to play their A game, but it'd be great to see them play their A game because I think they're going to need it against Houston on Monday night. And in a way, I think they're not out of the Big 12 race right now. I mean, like they're third right now, and I think they're lost behind both Arizona and Houston, if I remember correctly. And it seems like they control their own destiny. Obviously, you hope they win out, but I'm be a little curious if they beat Arizona on the road. I think they'll beat Houston on Monday, and I think they'll beat Cincinnati on Saturday. But I think Arizona on the road for me is I'm not sure they're going to do that.
Yeah, it'll be tricky because Houston, as I've talked about, Houston gets Arizona at home on Saturday and then KU. But then after that, I think they got Baylor and Colorado both at home and then at Oklahoma State. So Houston, they're not losing any of their last 3 games. So we'll see who wins the Arizona-Houston game. I talked a little bit yesterday on the show on kind of the schools of thought for KU fans on who to cheer for in that game. But let's just make sure we're in a good mood after KU and Cincinnati. But so Shreyas, looking at the path forward for Kansas and what needs to happen for KU to make a deep run in March. Obviously, DP is very important to that. But this team has proven without him that they can do it. I mean, they have beaten the best teams, including a team that was ranked number 1 in the country. They went to a neutral site and beat a really solid Tennessee team. What needs to happen in terms of the other guys for Kansas to ensure that no matter what happens, no matter, the Peterson situation, they're going to be in the game when it matters most?
Well, you need Melvin Council to do everything he's done so far this year. Give him at least 12, 15 points or so, 10, 12 points or so. You need Flory to look as good as he's looked in the last few weeks on the defensive end, but also kind of give him at least 10 points. Trey White getting back to form from deep is big because he's been such a prolific shooter and has really helped out KU's lack of shooting, I think, outside of Peterson. And then you're hoping one of like Taylor, Almarco, Jamari, one of those 3 trios gives you a couple of games where they just go off. Like, they come out of nowhere and do well. Like Almarco, to me, has been the most interesting story, one of the most interesting stories of the year, not just because I ask a ton of questions to Bill Self about it, but like this is a guy that didn't seem like he had a rotation role at the beginning of the year, and now he's solidified him as a solid 6th or 7th man for this team. And he's had a couple of games where he's had double-digit points. He's going to need to do that in some of these games where I think points are hard to come by. Because when you look back at the Oklahoma State game, outside of Peterson, it felt like nobody really shot the ball well besides him and Almarco.
Yeah. Man, you asked more Almarco questions than I. Hey, well, we're pre-recording this right now, so we haven't gotten a chance to hear yet a Shreyas Laddha question to Bill Self today. We're going to have Bill Self a little bit later in Rock Chalk Sports today and hear his press conference in full. But Shreyas, Kansas City Star, always appreciate your outlook, and we'll see you tomorrow at the game.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, Shreyas Laddha, Kansas City Star. More coming up on Rock Chalk Sports, kansasnation.com, ESPN, Kansas City.
Miles Schneer's Crown Automotive, founding partner of Kansas Nation. Visit them at crownautomotive.com. Experience the Crown difference. Carfax top-rated dealer, Crown Automotive.
Hello, it's Mark Whitlow from Office Products Alliance. OPA is not just your local office products connection. We have expanded our offerings to network cabling installation, security cameras, door access, and IT services. We all need to keep pace with new technologies. You can trust a Kansas City company that has been your partner for 32 years. Check us out at opakc.com. Supporting local businesses and our community is more important than ever.
We have a great selection of vehicles here. What's the best fit for you?
Maybe something a little smaller. Maybe just a little bigger. Getting closer. Perfect. Come experience the Crown difference.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
Haney and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations, home of the best wings in town, 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas.
Hey there, I'm Nick Schaefer.
I'm Greg Gurley.
And this is Between Two Fountains. It's not an original name for a podcast, but it's our name, Greg.
Love it. A lot of time and effort went into that name, and that's all we got.
As far as you know. Hey, we're going to talk about our 2 favorite topics, Kansas City area sports and nonsense. That about covers it, right?
I'll handle the nonsense.
Yeah. We'll have the best guests as well, and the worst jokes come around every single week on Between Two Fountains.
Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports. Dan, tell everybody about Crown Automotive over on South Iowa and try to do it without saying the phrase, my neck of the woods.
All right. Well, it is near where I live. Crown Automotive down on South Iowa Street, a whole line of new Toyotas and Volkswagens. Plus, they have used cars as well to get you in the car that fits your lifestyle. Toyotas and Volkswagens, 2 of the best cars for the bang for your buck. Talk about, efficiency. Talk about gas mileage. Talk about longevity of cars. Go check them out. And plus, they have the friendliest sales staff in town. Check out Crown Automotive for the best deals on cars. Truly fantastic people, a great environment over on South Iowa Street. Check them out, crownautomotive.com.
How about that? Near where you live. I love it. All right, sports stock market.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, ding. All right, let's get into it, Dan. The MAC starts things off.
The MAC.
The MAC.
The MAC, yes. Stock's up on changing your name because the MAC is changing its name. The Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, I believe, is what it is.
Yes. Is it that or is it Mid-American? No, Metro Atlantic
Metro,
sounds right.
yeah. Which a lot of people are saying that they need to change it. Anyway, stock's up on changing your name. I think I talked about this a little bit earlier in this week, but there's a great video that came out, and we have the video, but apparently the MAC is going to be rolling out their new name come spring. So right now they're actually testing different names with test groups to see what they can do because it's always been so challenging. The MAC and the MAC, which is the Mid-America Conference.
MACtion, yes.
MACtion, right. People always say like, oh, well, the MAAC is just, it's MAC without football. Or they'd say the MAAC or something, but they're both called the MAC. Like, that's what people refer to both of them as. It's been confusing as hell for the last, 40 years. So now the MAAC is going to be changing their name. And they came out with a great video of the MAC, the MAC commissioner, and the MAAC commissioner meeting up with the NCAA for a meeting, and let's play that video because it's awesome.
Hey, John. How's it going?
Travis, how the heck are you?
I'm doing well. What are you doing here?
Well, I've got a meeting with Pat.
Oh, me too.
Wonderful.
Interesting.
Pat, your 10 a.m. with the MAC is here, but we have a problem.
Okay, I'll be right out. Man, you guys really got to figure this out.
Can I suggest a name change may be in order?
I got it.
So I love the fact that the MAC, the real MAC, the MAC, is in on this too.
The fact that they took the time to do that. I mean, that's just good,
nice.
clean fun.
That's good, clean fun. That's great. And they're finally addressing, because for as long as we've ever been around, nobody's ever addressed the fact that they're the exact same name. The MAC and the MAC. The MAC and the MAC.
This is, I know that you were a sports fan through and through, and your amount of sports knowledge, it really competes with anybody that I've known.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody.
Damn straight.
Can you name 3 teams in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference?
Oh my gosh, let me think. Marist.
Yes.
Okay. Oh gosh. Oh man, I got lucky with that one.
What an unbelievable poll.
Bucknell.
No, they're in the Ivy League. Or not the Ivy League. They're in the Patriot League.
Patriot League. That's right. Okay. So Marist, Mercyhurst.
No.
Okay. Oh man, this is gonna be tough.
I'll give you 120 more guesses.
Perfect. Okay. I'm just glad I got Marist, honestly. I really am glad.
Marist again?
Yeah, can you believe? I mean, there's probably 2 that are really obvious, but I'm glad I got Marist.
I would not say there are 2 that are really obvious.
The M.
No, don't look it up. I'll read them to you.
Okay, please do.
Go on. Okay. Well, okay. If I say Siena, you say Niagara. I just feel like they go together. No. Okay.
The MAAC.
I'm gonna read them to you. I'm gonna read them to you. It's gonna be really entertaining. You ready?
Oh, great.
Are you reading them?
No, no, all right. No, I don't have it up.
Okay. Okay.
Quinnipiac.
Marist. Yes.
I saw one.
Quinnipiac is there. There you go. Siena, Niagara, Canisius, Merrimack in the MAC, Sacred Heart, Fairfield, Iona, Manhattan, St. Peter's. Shout out to the Peacocks.
Shout out.
Great mascot.
Yeah.
Ryder and Mount St. Mary's. No relation to St. Mary's.
St. Mary's. That's right.
And no relation to
Kansas played Mount St. Mary's a couple of years ago, didn't they?
We played Monmouth.
Monmouth is what I was thinking of. That would have been another guess of mine.
With the George Papa's dunk. Anyway,
shout out to the MAC.
Shout out to the MAC. The MAC and the MAC. All right, we got canines on here.
Yes, shout out to dogs. We have another video for this. So during the cross country skiing event at the Winter Olympics, there was a dog who went out on the course. We have that video now. Let's go ahead and play it.
Finish. Finish.
Oh. So that was a 2-year-old Czechoslovakian wolf dog, Nazgul, who finished in the cross-country skiing event without any skis.
I mean, he's just having a great time. Granted, not using skis, that's against the rules. So,
I would say so.
That's something that's going to have to be taken up with the IOC.
But, I love that. Yeah. And I love that the fact that they had it, they had the photo finish with the dog running. That's great. That dog, you said it was having the time of his life.
The only thing that would have made it better for me, sheepdog.
Sure.
I mean,
you don't like dogs.
I'm not a huge dog guy.
You hate dogs.
But
you said you hate dogs.
But I do love Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
And I love the sheepdog van that they drive.
That's
right. Elijah, shout out, Dumb and Dumber.
That's a good,
great flick.
So
Jim Carrey, Jeff Daniels.
You only like dogs if they're in the shape of a car.
Could be, but sheepdogs are cute.
Sheepdogs are cute. Well, what about Charlie and Mac?
You don't even like Mac.
I don't like Mac at all.
Yeah,
he's horrible. But Charlie's good. Charlie's a good guy. Nice fella.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he's not jumping.
Sean hates dogs.
I don't. I just don't want to be attacked.
He told me in secret that the world would be better without them.
I just don't want to be attacked.
All
right,
Mac might attack you.
Sac State, speaking of the MAC.
Yeah, stocks up on paying for friends. Sacramento State, they're going to be entering the MAC in football, and it feels like they got fleeced a little bit.
Have you seen the geographic outlook of adding them?
Yeah,
great
it's
stuff.
Absolutely insane. So this is from Ross Dellinger. He said the MAC deal with Sacramento State now officially announced 5-year agreement in which the school will take no conference distribution, cover air travel costs of visiting MAC teams,
That's
and pay
crazy.
$6 million of the $18 million entry fee in year 1. So right away, Sacramento State, by the way, it's been the least kept secret in the world that they're trying to make it everything D1 and trying to join power conferences, and now they're joining the MAC. It's a 5-year deal, so not guaranteed after that. $23 million to join in total. It said $18 million, but it's going to be $23 total. $6 million up front. They also get no media money. They get no TV money whatsoever from the MAC, and they have to cover the air travel for all the opponents who come out to Sacramento State.
That's crazy. I assume the Pac-12 and the Mountain West both said we're good
when
they wanted to join.
Yes.
So they had to settle with the Mid-Atlantic continent.
What a terrible Mid-America?
We'll get to watch Sac State, though, midweek games. I mean, you can't put a price on that.
Maction After Dark?
Action After Dark.
Oh,
Yes,
my gosh.
Let's go.
Oh,
Who are
let's
you
go.
kidding? You'll be watching Gilmore Girls or Bridgerton.
I'll be locked into
you won't.
Eastern Michigan
No, you won't.
and Sac State.
You say you will be and you won't. What is this? This is ridiculous, though. Having to pay for the flights for opposing teams?
That's insane. That's like
So,
were they
I
just
mean,
like-
obviously they're thinking they're going to get a good ROI.
Did
because
they not? Yeah, I was about to say, did they not have like a lawyer comb through this agreement?
I think they had a comb. It just wasn't fine toothed.
Sure.
So you
Not
ever
like a
run
lace
into that?
comb.
Yeah.
You probably had a lice comb.
Yeah.
With a young daughter. She ever gotten lice?
I don't know. I have a lot of combs and brushes, and they all have hair in them, and it's
You're not a hair guy. We had this conversation.
No. I wear socks all the time. I don't. No, I am weird about that. For
Shout out
sure.
to Sacramento State, though. I mean, that's just like, I get it. You want to move conferences. They were in the Big West. Is that right?
Sure.
That sounds right. I
that
understand
up.
you want to move conferences. You want to get into
Big
the
West
D1
sounds
level. But like everyone all virtually agrees that they're getting fleeced in this deal.
No, they're not in the Big West. I think. Okay. You must have been thinking of Cal Poly, Cal Riverside, Cal Bakersfield, Cal State Northridge, Cal State Fullerton, Hawaii, Long Beach State, UC Davis, UC Irvine, or UCSD or Santa Barbara.
I was thinking of all of those schools.
Okay, so you were not thinking.
What are they? What's Sac State
Sacramento?
in?
I don't know.
Are they in WCC?
Big West. No,
they don't have football.
Well, WCC is Gonzaga and Santa Clara and all that. They are in the Big Sky.
Big Sky Conference.
Can you name one other team in the Big Sky Conference?
Montana State.
That sounds right. Both
Idaho.
those squads.
I mean, they were FCS.
Keep going, dude. You got this. You're 3 for 3.
Let's see. So it wouldn't be North Dakota State.
No. Close your eyes. You said Montana, Montana State,
Idaho State.
Idaho State. There you
go. Big Sky. Big Sky. I mean, it's not. I know it's not North Dakota State or South Dakota State because I believe they're in the Missouri Valley.
I don't know if you'll get any of the other ones.
I probably won't.
Eastern Washington.
Oh, I probably would have gotten that.
Northern Arizona.
Give me time.
Northern Colorado.
I knew that.
Portland
actually.
State and Weber State.
Shout out to the Big Sky.
I'll be darned.
But yeah, stock's up on Paying for Friends. Stock is down on Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill got released from the Dolphins. Sean,
he wanted out.
Do you want Tyreek Hill back in a Chiefs uniform? Actually, close your eyes and imagine Tyreek Hill in a Chiefs uniform. Can you imagine it?
No, but I have some good friends with Photoshop who could make it happen.
I bet they
Was
can.
he actually at a Texas Roadhouse in KC?
So that's the thing. We have a picture of this, and you pull up this picture. Tyreek Hill was spotted at a Texas Roadhouse in Kansas City. Now, granted, I said this to Henry maybe off air. If there's ever been more of a Raven, I don't think there's ever been more of a Raven than Tyreek Hill, because that's where old wide receivers, old fast wide receivers go to die, is Baltimore. But Tyreek Hill has been ominous on Twitter saying he wants to go home and all this stuff. I don't think, the Chiefs have the money. Now, they just restructured Patrick Mahomes' contract, which freed up about $45 million, which is good. Yeah, I know. Elijah said, oh my gosh. So they have a lot of money, but I don't want to pay that money to a 31-year-old who's coming off of a terrible knee injury from last year. And he has a little bit of baggage, but you're bringing back Eric Bieniemy, who really was kind of like that drill sergeant guy who kind of held everything together, was the kind of the glue. It would work, but again, I just don't want to pay that kind of money for Tyreek Hill. And also, you don't want not only one, but two high maintenance wide receivers. You look at all the Rashee Rice stuff that's going on right now, not good. And then you're also bringing in Tyreek Hill into that wide receiver room, probably not good as well. So I think Chiefs, maybe second round, go after a wide receiver.
I would take it back, I guess, but it would not be a priority.
For the right price. Everybody has a price,
I mean,
right? Like if you get him for if you get him for, I don't know, let's say like $8 million for 1 year, that's fine.
My only concern, really, not my only concern, but my top concern for the Chiefs, and this is going to be honestly true for the next 10 years, is the offensive line. And then my second concern is going to be whatever it is going to be way after.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to have better offensive line play. They're not disciplined and not protecting Mahomes good enough. And,
Josh Simmons, I think, is going to be a Pro Bowler one day.
Yeah, but can you count on him to play 17 games?
That's the thing. Yeah, it's just like when Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL, you had 2 guys starting on the offensive line who had never played in NFL games before that year. So, again, I'm with you. But also, it would be nice to have another deep threat. I'm saying for the right price, I would take Tyreek Hill back.
My only concern, well, not even a concern, a complaint about Rock Chalk Sports is that we don't focus on you enough. So let's talk about
I would love to.
These last couple items on sports stock market that can relate to Dan Courtwright.
These are all me and Sean. This is just going to be, this first one is going to be me just rubbing it in your face.
Okay.
Stocks up on whistling because I just received an email that I have an audition to whistle the national anthem at a Royals game this year. We've talked about this. I'm not humble about 2 things. I'm really good at ping pong, and I'm really good at whistling. So good at whistling that I decided, hey, you know what? There's this Royals Got Talent thing where you send in a video of yourself singing the national anthem, and then they'll bring you back for callbacks. You do it at Kauffman Stadium, and then they'll get you to sing the national anthem for a Royals game. I said, you know what? I'm not a great singer, but I can whistle. So I sent in a video of myself whistling the national anthem, kind of as a joke, more so to prove to you that I'm a good whistler because you refused to let me whistle in front of you.
Yeah.
I got the email back saying, congratulations, you've moved on to the next level. They're going to take me out to Kauffman Stadium, and I'm going to do it in front of people, and I'm going to get it.
Are they sending a limo or a taxi cab?
I have to drive. But
they're going to take me out.
Sean told me, he said, if I do this, if I'm able to do this, he will allow me to whistle in front of him.
Yes,
one of your
I
pet
will allow you to
peeves-
whistle on air the next time that I am gone.
Oh my gosh!
But
no, that wasn't the thing. One of your pet peeves is whistling. You don't like when people whistle.
I really don't.
And I'm really good at it, and so I try, and I really don't do it in front of you because I know how much it bothers you.
I'm honored.
I think that this is going to be my big break.
Hey, you know what? That's cool that they got back to you because were they specifically requesting people to sing it?
They were specifically requesting people to sing
you said, nah.
And I said, no, I'm going to whistle. Oh, I got to find this.
Most important question. If you get selected to do this, how many tickets will you get?
This is congratulations. You were selected to move on to the next round of Royals Fans Got Talent. The 2026 Royals Fans Got Talent live auditions will be held Saturday, February 28th at Kauffman Stadium.
So this is coming up.
Yes, February 28th.
Oh, man.
It's going to be at 9:30. KU plays that day. Yeah, I know.
KU plays
I got to
at
start training.
3, though, so you'll be good.
Yes.
But
so the
don't
audition
be
is at
burning
9:30.
the midnight tequila the night before.
I will not be. I will be training all day. You're going to see me just, oh, man, I'm going to be so good. It'll be great for content, by the way, for the show.
Oh,
I'm going to record everything.
I mean, people will pay good money for that.
So it says, do not bring any family, significant others, or children, only you. So I will be the only one there.
But how many tickets do you get if you win the
So I
daggum
believe they'll give me 2 tickets.
Oh.
I would imagine that because I'm so good at whistling, I would imagine they'll probably give me like the 4th of July game because of how patriotic
Makes
it will
sense,
be. Or
yeah.
maybe like a night Saturday game because there's going to be a lot of people there.
Right.
Because they want to showcase how good of a whistler I am.
That's fair.
Because I am that good.
Man, what are you going to do about the mustache when you're put on the Giant Crown Club screen? Or the Giant Crowns?
Oh, it's going to be, it's going to be more prominent than ever.
It's going to be mustache.
It's going to be more prominent than ever.
All right, tell
I'm so excited about
us
this.
about Aunt Cindy.
Okay, I have this other one. So, by the way, shout out to Sean for taking over the show. Yesterday, I had some personal family matters that I had to attend to yesterday, so I really appreciate Sean doing that. I was with my family all yesterday, all the night before, and I was with my Aunt Cindy, and she told me one of the best stories, and I told Elijah about this. This is going to be the first time that either of you are hearing this. So my Aunt Cindy, she has a rental house that she owns, that she rents out to people. She has a new tenant moving in. Her name is Lisa. And the pipes froze, and so she needs to replace the dishwasher. And so I guess Lisa, the new tenant, was there. My Aunt Cindy texted her, and she said, hey, when you get the chance, can you look at the model number and serial number of the dishwasher? Lisa texts back, she says, sure, no problem. She said, okay, I removed the back panel looking for the model and serial number right now. She says, on my way to the house, I hit a raccoon and I nursed it back to health. I brought it inside, but it got scared and it climbed inside of the dishwasher and it won't come out. Do you have any thoughts if I should use a fire extinguisher to flush out this raccoon?
This actually happened?
So my Aunt Cindy says, no, leave the door open and you might close the laundry room door and the sliding barn door in the back room. So he comes out and isn't able to hide in any of those rooms. Lisa responds back, says, I was able to get him out by lighting a rolled up newspaper on fire and thrusting it at him. I accidentally lit the raccoon on fire and now it's running around and it accidentally burned your carpet and your furniture. It's fixable, but it's not pretty.
This is a real thing? And they're just texting like
yes.
it's a normal interaction.
Yeah. And she says, I now see that fire method was not the best course of action.
Oh my God. How old is Lisa?
Now, she says, it was chewing on wiring and it started sparking, so I panicked. She says, it was an intense ordeal. I'm just lucky I was wearing thin clothing. I wasn't wearing thin clothing, or maybe I would have really gotten burnt. My shirt lit on fire, but I stopped, dropped, and rolled and was able to get the hose and spray everything down to stop the flame. Oh, and by the way, here's the model number and serial number.
Oh my God.
For the dishwasher.
So she got the model number and serial number.
Yes.
Okay, good.
So my Aunt Cindy's
mission accomplished.
My Aunt Cindy's freaking out.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's texting her like it's a normal interaction.
So she calls my other aunt, Christina, who is friends with Lisa, and she goes, what is Lisa doing?
Right. So, how old is Lisa, just for context?
She's in her 50s.
Okay.
So Christina calls Lisa, and Lisa goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I've been at home all weekend. My Aunt Cindy had the wrong number, and some random a-hole was messing with her.
Okay, good. Good. That makes me feel better.
But talk about a guy who's committed to the bit.
See, it seems like something I would do.
He gained nothing from that. He came up with this entire story.
That's great.
Freaked my Aunt Cindy out.
Thankfully, I was wearing thin clothing.
How
so
incredible. And then, by the way, the icing on the cake was, oh, by the way, here's the serial number.
Oh, my God.
So good. You got to hand it to that person.
And that was all made up. The serial number
all made up. Yeah. All made up. Yeah, all made up. It's so great.
That's fantastic.
So great, right?
I mean, that is absolutely fantastic.
That's one of the best stories I've ever heard.
Shout out to that guy.
Shout out, dude.
Aunt Cindy. Oh, man.
Yeah, so no raccoon on fire.
I nursed it back. And then I wanted to make matters better, so I lit it on fire. Oh, that's so good.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Oh my
I
gosh.
cannot wait to meet Aunt Cindy. Maybe just give me her number.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll give you her number.
Oh my goodness.
Man.
That's good
Shout
stuff.
out to Aunt Cindy.
That is our sports stock market. Yeah, she may have to make an appearance on Case of the Mondays as well. But more coming up. We're going to hear from Bill Self after this. Bill Self at the Allen Fieldhouse Media Room, KU in Cincinnati tomorrow at noon. More coming up. KansasNation.com, ESPN, Kansas City.
Hey, what's up, Chuck Nation? Roby Dunga here, and make sure you check out the new KansasNation.com. Watch out.
Go all electric in a 2026 BZ for 0% APR. Built to move you, designed to electrify. Low APRs for 2026 Camry and Tundra models.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
Hi there, Gary Joslin with Joslin's Jewelry. I'm not the class ring company. I'm a mom and pop jewelry store for 42 years. We were recently voted the gold medal #1 jewelry store in the greater Kansas City area by Ingram's Magazine. Come see us at Joslin's Jewelry, 9529 Antioch. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
Hello, it's Mark Whitlow from Office Products Alliance. OPA is not just your local office products connection. We have expanded our offerings to network cabling installation, security cameras, door access, and IT services. We all need to keep pace with new technologies. You can trust a Kansas City company that has been your partner for 32 years. Check us out at opakc.com. Supporting local businesses and our community is more important than ever.
KU in Cincinnati tomorrow at noon. Coverage starts with the Crimson and Blue Show at 10:30 across the Jayhawk Radio Network. Bill Self met with the media a little bit earlier today, and here's Coach.
Good, man. How you doing? Why did you go right to Shay?
I kind of wiggled. Kind of signaled, I guess. If the people want it.
The people want Shay.
I think there's a handful of games left, and you guys are right in the thick of the race. Do you have to remind you guys to keep it, just focus one game at a time with some big matchups coming, or do you not have to do that? I mean, any reminders?
Oh, yeah. Well, we just one game, biggest game's the next game. You know, you're at the point where, you know, I said this one of the weeks in the past that, you know, this late in a game or a season or whatever, you make a mistake, then there may not be ample time to recover from making the mistake. And, you know, we don't have any margin for error, and our guys know that. So I don't think that'll be the case, but certainly we'll talk about, you know, the biggest game on our schedule, Cincinnati. We're not even going to mention anything else past that. Say it.
Okay. How many games do you feel like you need with your full group hold to feel comfortable going into the postseason?
I would say, I don't know if there's a number of games, but as much as there is, which may equate to games, as much as it is, you know, just the day-to-day in practice and the games combined. I don't know what that number is, but we're at the point where I feel like we're getting right up against that number, so to speak. This weekend is a great sign because it's a Saturday, Monday game. Well, postseason is Thursday, Saturday, or Friday, Sunday. You know, conference tournament, no guarantee you're going to get a second game, but if you do, it's back to back. I think if you don't have confidence in doing that over an extended period of time, and to me, I've always said by February, but I never really thought what day in February. But, you know, we're no longer in mid-February. We're in the latter part of February. So it needs to start happening now. And you know, that's what we believe will happen. But certainly I think we're getting pretty much against it, where I would have the total confidence going into the second week of March, you know, knowing that we played together for a while.
Expectations for Darryn to play tomorrow?
Oh yeah. I haven't seen him. Well, I've seen him. I haven't really talked to him since the game on Wednesday, because yesterday was an off day. But we met. It wasn't a total off day. We met and watched tape, but we didn't do anything basketball-wise. So we'll find out today. But we haven't had any issues in practice whatsoever.
Bill, I think you mentioned this. Obviously, I know you're not a doctor, you're going to say that, but you mentioned this before the flu-like symptoms that he hadn't.
I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, though.
He had not experienced cramping the 2 games before the illness, and then obviously it popped up in Oklahoma State. Is there anything that you guys maybe did differently? You saw anything differently?
Anything that we could have done differently?
Or had done differently those 2 games versus, you know, like what happened in the Oklahoma State game?
When you get sick, a lot of times. I think that there's a chance that, you know, you lose weight, you lose strength. There's a lot of things that happen. That's you know, we're not going to divulge. Could that contributed to that? Absolutely. But because he did get through the 2 games prior to that without that. So, yeah, that could certainly be it as much as anything.
Anything you learned from, I guess, how you guys handled the last Saturday, Monday pair of games at home that you can apply to these 2?
Probably not. I think that the last Saturday, Monday game, if I'm not mistaken, we played on Monday prior. So you had 3 days to prepare for the Saturday game, and we spent 1 day preparing for Arizona during that. We don't have that luxury this time because you're off on Sunday. You practice Monday and Tuesday for Okie State. You practice Thursday. Well, we didn't practice yesterday. We watched tape and practiced today for Cincinnati. Because if we'd have practiced yesterday, it would have been 8 consecutive days that we'd have to go in a row. So we didn't want to do that with our guys because they're playing so many minutes. So it's probably a little bit different in that it's going to be for the Monday game, it'll be all 1 day prep, period. Whereas the last Monday we didn't do that, but I'm not even, we play well tomorrow and are successful. I'll live with the 1 day prep.
It may seem weird since Darryn's such a big topic, but how connected do you think this team is? I mean, the guys that are out there, and even when he is out there.
I think this team really likes each other. I think that we're getting more and more comfortable with each other and understanding each other and the talents of each respective guy. And the thing about it is, so much has been made of DP, but I don't believe that so much has been made of that with our guys. Our guys like Darryn, and Darryn likes our guys. But, you know, however it's spun, But I do think this is a close team.
When you're looking at that, what's the biggest indicator to you of how connected a team is? Talking basketball, talking on the court.
Guys that will actually get on each other. Guys that smile when they play. And off the court, after you eat a meal, do 12 guys sit around and BS after the meal's over as opposed to getting back to the room. There's a lot of subtle things I think that happens. Can they as a group make fun of me as opposed to and joining in on the fun and that kind of stuff? Can they make fun of each other and not take it personal? To me, those are signs of a team that's got pretty good chemistry.
That last part, does this team do that?
Yes.
Well?
I think well. You know, the other day, Melvin and Paul, of all people, got into an argument during practice. Man, if you do that one more time, I'm going to knock, you know, one of those deals. And then afterwards, Melvin going up to Paul saying, "See, I told you I'd beat you," right? You know, Paul's like going, "You're a gnat on my back, big boy." But just joking around like that, because, you know, which is, I think that's the way it should be.
And I also wanted to ask you, we got a little taste of it when he coached the game in Colorado, but overall, Jock in his first year and how that's gone, what his primary impact has been for your team this year?
Yeah, I think he's been great. And just so you know, he coached that game in Colorado. I'm not going to downplay Jock, but Jeremy's our associate head coach. Right. He coached that game in Colorado because for 2 hours we had to win a game, and he has more experience than what Jeremy does. But he's been great, and the players love him. But I think there's a connection between Tony and our guys too. I think there's a connection with all our staff and our guys. So I'm very pleased with our staff.
Bill, just kind of building off that, when did you know that this team's connectivity was a little bit different than some of the other teams you've had in the past?
See, I don't really other teams that we've had in the past, I don't know that I would say it's been different, except I don't think that last year's team was as connected. But I will not say other teams in the past. I mean, but last year's team wasn't quite as connected, in my opinion, not because of any other reasons than they liked each other. We just had too many interest last year. Whereas this year, you know, Melvin's a 24-year-old kid that comes in here and he's thinking of one thing: ball. Other guys can be a 25-year-old, 6-year senior, and they're thinking of life after college. There's just a different thing. But those guys last year liked each other, but it wasn't the connectivity through the game that really made them like each other, where I think this is much more of that.
Coach, just talk about the challenge of going up against Cincinnati's size and athleticism.
Well, their defense efficiency, I think, is rated 11th today nationally. They can guard, and they're extremely long up front, and they're very quick in the backcourt. They've got a good team. They're a better team than what their record shows, and of course Miller and Chom are probably as long of guys as we have on the same team in our league, at least that I can think of off the top of my head. So they create problems, especially on the defensive end. You're not going to score easy against them. You're going to have to run good stuff.
With Marco playing 28 minutes in the last game, what have you thought about the role that he's carved out for himself, and what do you think about his performance in that one?
I thought he was the best player we had in the game. I thought he was great. And when things got a little bit hairy there in the second half, when they cut it to 10 or 11, whatever it was, you know, he's the one that pushed it right back to 15 or 16 on a couple of plays. And so I think he's comfortable in his role. I'm not saying he likes coming off the bench, because I'm not sure anybody would prefer that over a starting role. But I will say that he's totally comfortable in the role in which he has, and has certainly been a bonus with what he gives us off the bench. It certainly changes things when you can get production off the bench from a perception standpoint, and he's definitely done that.
Since the Okie State game, there's been a lot of national chatter about Darryn, and I don't know how much you watch TV or anything. Is it a distraction at all, and has anything that's been said seemed like it's been unfair, or?
It's not a distraction for me as much as it would be for him, and maybe it is for our players. I don't believe it is, though. But for Darryn, obviously, it would be, because I've heard some of the things that were said. The things that are said nationally, from the perspective in which they say it, is it fair, or is a lot of the things that they said actually true? He hasn't finished games. The reasons why they say he hasn't finished games is 100% false. So at least in 70 to 80% of the reasons why, that with what they've said that I've heard. So I can't say 100% of everything would be false, but that's the narrative that's being put out there. But you know, the bottom line is there is a way to change the narrative. You know, play, finish. Now, if his body allows him to, fantastic. If it doesn't allow him to, then you know they'll say something again the next game. But that's the way to get people to quit talking. It's not me saying it's not fair. I don't think that really keeps anybody from having an opinion on it at a national level, or on this level, or any level, to be quite candid. But I do think that, you know, it's easy for everybody to say what's happening within a situation that really doesn't know the situation. But don't we all do that? Don't we all have comments on politics, on what positively should be done, and we don't actually know anything about what's really going on and why certain things happen? I mean, that's the way of the world. Those guys are paid, not to talk about our team or Darryn, but they're paid to speak their opinions based on what they know from a sports standpoint. So, I don't know that it's what the basis of what's being said. You know, you can't argue with it. He hasn't finished games consistently. The reasons why he hasn't finished, or he's saving himself, or the NBA, or load management, or that kind of stuff, that to me, that couldn't be more false from that regard.
As his coach, are you convinced he loves the game and he feels badly about it? Well, I'm just going by all the things that have flooded the airwaves.
I don't know that we've had a guy that is studies the game, has prepared himself for this more so than what Darryn Peterson has. He loves ball. He can't get enough of ball. I think that those are the things that's probably hurtful as much as anything to say those type of things. And nobody's put more time in outside of practice working on their game on an individual level than probably what he has over a lifetime. I don't even think it'd be close. So I don't buy those scenarios at all. But there's a way to get rid of those scenarios too. So and he knows that, and I know that, and that's what he's going to deal with. If he wasn't a
That's the Hall of Fame head basketball coach Bill Self speaking with reporters a little bit earlier today. After this, some game picks to close out Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, and KansasNation.com.
What's up, everybody? Darryn Peterson. Everybody go check out KansasNation.com.
Performance, style, and technology. Check all your boxes in a 2026 Atlas, now 3.9% APR, or get 3.9% APR on a 2026 Jetta, the compact sedan that redefines the standard.
Hi there, Gary Joslin with Joslin's Jewelry. I'm not the class ring company. I'm a mom and pop jewelry store for 42 years. We were recently voted the gold medal #1 jewelry store in the greater Kansas City area by Ingram's Magazine. Come see us at Joslin's Jewelry, 9529 Antioch. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
Listen up, guys. Summer is coming, and there's no better time than right now to ignite your health and feel your best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, ED, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2026 with Game Day.
Hey there, I'm Nick Schaefer.
I'm Greg Gurley.
And this is Between Two Fountains. It's not an original name for a podcast, but it's our name, Greg.
Love it. A lot of time and effort went into that name, and that's all we got.
As far as you know. Hey, we're going to talk about our two favorite topics, Kansas City area sports and nonsense. That about covers it, right?
I'll handle the nonsense.
Yeah. We'll have the best guests as well, and the worst jokes come around every single week on Between Two Fountains.
All right, getting your weekend going with some game picks, but want to shout out our new partners over at Custom Lawn. Winter is not downtime for your lawn. It's prep time. February is an important month to build a healthy spring lawn. Custom Lawn and Landscape, they are scheduling winter services right now. Soil treatments, pre-emergent applications to tree and shrub care that protects your yard from harsh cold. So don't wait until the March, the April months to wish that your lawn looked better, frankly. Start now and enjoy your yard all year long. Call Custom Lawn and Landscape. Schedule online at customlawn.com. Custom Lawn and Landscape. Well, full day of college basketball tomorrow. It's just the third time in the AP era that top 4 teams are facing each other on the same day. And that's what we have, which actually 3 is kind of high, I would think. It's such a rare situation.
It's a weird thing to happen on the same day.
Yeah, but it could be a situation where like you have Duke UNC on one. But anyway, Arizona Houston and Duke Michigan, the top 4 seeds in the AP poll, will do battle. A lot to get to. Let's start tonight, though, in the top 25. Number 18, St. Louis. They're coming off a loss to Rhode Island. They are minus 7.5 at home against VCU. Dan, over-under is 165.5.
St. Louis gets back, man. Their head coach, by the way,
Josh Schertz.
Josh Schertz. He is on a lot of people's big board for taking the K-State job. I don't want to make this a K-State segment, but you're crazy if you're going to take that job. I think if you're Coach Schertz and you're probably the hottest name, at least in the mid majors right now, who's going to be moving up, you're crazy to take the K-State job. I think other bigger jobs are going to pop up. K-State isn't even in the top half of the best jobs in the Big 12 as of right now. So at this point, St. Louis's coach is really trying to build his resume to continue to try to bump up that next level. So I think that they get back in this one. Give me St. Louis. It's in St. Louis, minus 7.5.
Number 7, Purdue, minus 11.5 at home against Indiana. Who do you like?
I like the Hoosiers to cover here. I do not like them to win. Purdue, again, I'm a massive Purdue hater. I'm not saying that Indiana is going to cover just because I don't like Purdue, but I do think that they cover. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I can see this being like a 7-point victory for Purdue.
Number 22, Miami of Ohio, still unbeaten. Tonight at 7:30, they're laying 7.5 against Bowling Green. Over/under is 153.5.
The pressure's on, man. I think the last like 4 times we've done game picks for Miami of Ohio, I've picked them to lose. I think they lose this one. I think they finally drop one, and they drop out of the rankings. They're going to be probably 11 or 12 seed maybe in the NCAA tournament. Give me Bowling Green, money line, plus 310.
Top 25 matchups tomorrow that we want to highlight. Let's start number 16, North Carolina at Syracuse. UNC is minus 3.5, over under 152.5. Heels have been dealing with a lot of injuries.
Yeah, that is obviously something to look out for. I think Syracuse is okay. They don't have the best team, but it's in Syracuse. And I just think that North Carolina does not show up for games like this. They show up for big games. They don't show up for games like this. So I think Syracuse pulls it off. And I think Syracuse wins this one. Plus 154.
Number 19, Vanderbilt hosting Tennessee. Vandy just lost that game, which had a crazy ending against Mizzou. Commodores, minus 2.5, over under 148.5. Should be a good one.
Yeah, I think Tennessee is going to be reeling from that one. I think that they're really upset about it. I think it's going to be in the back of their heads, and I think Tennessee knocks them off.
All right, Tennessee plus 130, according to Dan. Number 20, Arkansas. Man, they had an emotional loss, double overtime, lost 117 to 115 in Tuscaloosa. They're hosting Mizzou. And the Hogs are minus 10.5. Over/under is 161.5.
Yeah, I think Mizzou's riding a high right now, and Arkansas hates the way that they lost that game, but they put up some points, man. And they had some really solid players in that game as well. Talk about Darius Acuff. So give me Arkansas to cover in this game. I think Mizzou gets off the bubble here.
Really?
Well, I guess they did just beat Vanderbilt. I think
they're probably still in, even if they lose.
I think that they can do it.
Yeah.
I have faith in Mizzou that they can get off the bubble.
They need to. They can find a way.
They
had
a
season not that long ago where they won no games in the SEC. That was impressive.
Right.
All right, number 3, Duke. Number 1, Michigan, neutral site. Duke is plus 2.5. Over/under is 148.5. A little Big Ten ACC flair. A couple powerhouses.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Again, it's a neutral site, so there's no home court advantage here, really. I do like Michigan in this game, though. I think Michigan matches up really well. Yaxel Lindenberg, I think, has a very bright future as a professional. Give me Michigan, man. I don't think Michigan drops another one this year.
This is in D.C., Michigan, and Duke. All right, let's take a look at the Big 12 games. Obviously, let's just highlight the big ones. All right. Okay. Iowa State, BYU. We'll start with that one.
Yeah.
Iowa State ranked 6th in the country. BYU 23rd in the country. Iowa State minus 3.5 in Provo. Over under 155.5. Clones, can they stay hot? They already beat Kansas and Houston their last 2 times out, and now they head to Utah.
Yeah. You know what? This might be crazy, but give me the under in this game. I like the under 155.5 because Richie Saunders is going to be out, and I also like Iowa State to cover this line. I understand it's in Provo, but without Richie Saunders, Saunders, they're a different team. So give me Iowa State. I think that they cover this one.
What a 7-day stretch that would be for Iowa State. Again, they probably feel like they need to steal that one as well.
Yeah.
Since they're a game back in the loss column of Houston and Arizona. Speaking of Houston and Arizona, how about this line? Number 2, Houston, hosting number 4, Arizona. The Cougars are minus 5.5 against Arizona. Didn't think you'd see Arizona as 5.5-point dogs at any point this season, but that's the situation. Over-under is 139.5. Koa Peets has been injured. Not sure his status. Who do you like here?
I like Arizona to cover this. I think this is 5.5 is too big of a line. I think Arizona is too good of a team to be a 5.5-point dog. I don't care where you're at. If you're in the Fertitta Center, if you're in Madison Square Garden, you're in Allen Fieldhouse, that's too big of a line if you're Arizona, even if Koa Peets not going to be playing in this game. Give me Arizona to cover this line. I think Houston pulls it out at the end with a 2-point victory. Give me the over in this game. 139.5 feels low.
Last I heard, Koa Pete will not play, but this is interesting because, again, you would think as a Kansas fan, you want to cheer for Houston, right? Because that's always the thinking. Cheer for the team at home. But if Houston wins, Kansas could still beat them, and that would give Houston a third loss. But like we talked about, you're not losing the last 3 games if you're Houston. So I kind of think you cheer for Arizona in this game because I could see Arizona losing to Iowa State down the line, and Kansas would have to beat them.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about maybe getting everybody to 4 losses,
best path forward,
then maybe you cheer for Arizona if you're a KU fan. Interesting stuff. But Cougars at home trying to bounce back from that loss on Big Monday to Iowa State. Last one, Kansas hosting Cincinnati. KU ranked 8th in the country. They're minus 10.5, over under 134.5, Daniel.
Yeah, DraftKings has 98% of the money on KU. 10.5-point spread. Feels okay to me. Obviously, it's a home game. I like the over in this game, over 134.5. That feels low to me, and I think Kansas wins and Kansas covers the Dan Court Right Special.
Every time on Game Picks. All right, that's going to do it for Rock Chalk Sports. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Make sure that you're locked into Kansas Nation on socials and kansasnation.com for game day coverage. KU and Cincinnati, and then we've got a big show coming up on Monday, so you want to check that out as well. We're live on Facebook and YouTube as kansasnation.com continues to cover all things Jayhawk basketball. Shout out to Elijah Schmidt running the operations for Dan Courtwright. Sean Kellerman saying we'll see you soon. Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, and kansasnation.com.
Together, we're elevating our potential and opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
We have a great selection of vehicles here. What's the best fit for you?
Maybe something a little smaller. Maybe just a little bigger. Getting closer. Perfect. Come experience the Chrome difference.
Haney and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations. Home of the best wings in town, 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
Listen up, guys. Summer is coming, and there's no better time than right now to ignite your health and feel your best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, ED, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2026 with Game Day.